as a woman and a Black woman actually, who's in this industry, for both of us to not sleep our way up, suck our way up, and for me to do it off, my talent, when you have certain accolades and, things that you really worked hard for, you can't let people take that from you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Absolutely.
the other day when JD was on your show, and the reason I have to say it here because it was said here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some things were very inaccurate. It was like a revisionist history. That's when, somebody changes what happened in the past and makes it different. And the thing about my story is I have proof, because facts are facts. You know what I mean? And one thing about me is when you do something for me, I always, if you watch any interview throughout the years, I always say the same thing. I came out with a book a couple years ago, and I gave JD props for what he really did. So what he really did was, when we came out, when I first met Lisa and we were in Second Nature.
Yeah, this is before I got in the group.
Yeah, right before Chili got in the group. Rico Wade and N. Burt, this is way before JD, had came to my house because a girl named Crystal wanted to start a group. And Lisa stayed out in the car. And I hadn't met Left Eye yet. She was QT at the time, but I hadn't met her yet. And so Rico kept talking about this girl, you got to see her sing and dance. So when he came in, I did my dance, my ATL thing with my swag. And then, and then I sang Guy, I Wanna Get With You. And another song that inspired me was Jody Watley, which came out in 1987.
Right.
And that was a song called Still a Thrill. And actually that song is how I figured I can sing deep. You know what I mean? Because she was late around midnight when I'm holding you near. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I was rocking the low notes at 17 years old. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think the part JD forgot to mention.
That's the misconception.
Oh, it's a big misconception because it wasn't like he looked. Right. It ain't like he looked at me and said, "Ooh, this blonde girl, I'm gonna make her sound deep." The reason he knew I could sing deep is because the night in the audition, because I just did Invert and Rico Wade show.
Right.
The night that I sang in the audition, I was singing deep, and I sang Guy then because that was the only song. What was his words that I could mimic to, say right? Because anybody who writes a song, you're gonna mimic that song because that's how the melody goes. But what he really did do, which is great, I was afraid to just do that as my thing. Now, after the audition, introduced me to JD. So you get the facts there. I was singing deep in my audition before I met him. And that's how N took me to him. He forgot that he heard me singing that way. That's what made him put me on Chris Cross's demos.
Okay.
Because he heard me doing it already.
Okay.
Then he is the one, what he did was he made me feel comfortable because I wasn't comfortable because back then in the 90s, and when I met Rosanda and she became Chili, Lisa's not here to tell you anything, but Chili knows that's all we would ever talk about. Yeah. Because he did give me my first demo so I can sing what I was already rocking myself. I didn't have to copy Guy or Jody Watley. This time I can have my own song. And what he did is back in the 90s, being gay was like really looked upon as bad. And, not that I'm homophobic, but I didn't want to have a fight that wasn't mine. So I remember after JD was like, man, you should make that your thing because you be killing it. And I was like, I was scared to do it for the masses because I was like, I liked it enough to do it in my, in my auditions and all that, but I'm kind of nervous. I don't know if people will like it, one, or if they think I'm gay too, and I don't want to have a fight that ain't mine if I ain't gay. And so I went home.
What is it about the low note that gives you gay though? What would say, you know what I'm saying, that people would get, that they would take that away?
You know what's funny? Okay, so when I went home and talked to my mama, she said, "Don't give a fuck what nobody think." And I was like, "You're right." So when I came out,
Mama
I was
knows
like,
something.
"JD had a great idea. Keep it yours." And I'm like, I came out and they thought I was gay anyway because
Well, it's
the one
because
thing,
of the way we dressed. It was all of
Well,
that.
people
the way
just
we
think,
were
you
dressed.
know what I mean? People just assume if they don't have anything explained to them and put out there, they just jump to their own conclusions. It's, you know.
Yes.
We
Yeah,
do.
but you know what? This is, we're talking the young me who didn't know any better, who was just fresh and didn't know any better at the time. You know what I'm
You
saying?
said you was intimidated by that.
Yeah, because that wasn't how I was living. So back then, you know, I didn't want to fight a fight that wasn't mine. But then when I went home and I told my mom what Jermaine said, he was like, you rock that so good, you should keep that as your thing. And I was like, maybe he's right. And then my mom's like, don't care what nobody say, do you. It don't matter what nobody knows as long as you and God know. And I was like, yeah, that's stupid. Let me go kill this shit. So the great thing that came out of it is he really did make me feel confident in doing something I was already doing.
But the moral of the story here is it wasn't his idea. It wasn't that he was singing like this already and he was like, hey, let me give you this. Why don't you do this like me and have this deep sound? That is not true. That is 100%
absolutely not true. The reason he
so
wrote that song
that set you up through there. That set you up through there when you heard it.
Well,
yeah,
it's
because
not true.
It's not
JD, your ass in trouble.
Because this is the thing. I'm not even mad because he's always like my brother, and I hate that I even have to come and explain it because I don't like explaining shit. But the thing is, that's why I told you in the beginning, as a woman, you can't take that from me because that kind of shit in this industry matters.